morning, everyone. We'll be starting in just 10 seconds.
Good morning. This is the September 14th Pitt County Board of Commissioners meeting, and this is being held virtually. And I will turn this meeting over to our chairman, Mr. Melvin McLaughlin.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Let me welcome all of you here to this morning session of the Pitt County Board of Commissioners. At this time, we're going to ask the clerk to call and I will, after so, I will be doing the invocation and the pledge. Madam Clerk.
Good morning, Chairman McLaughlin.
Here.
Vice Chairman Colson.
Here.
Commissioner Albright.
Here.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
He's muted.
Here.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Is it?
Commissioner Nunnally.
Here.
Commissioner Ward.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Here.
Everyone is present.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, shall we pray? Thank you, Lord, for this day, and we thank you for life, health, and strength. We ask for your safekeeping and your mercy and grace, and guide us through this meeting as we make the decisions for these your people, that these decisions will be pleasing to you. In thy holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, I ask our manager to do the pledge, please.
Please stand and face the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag
flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which
which it stands, one nation, under God,
justice for all.
Thank you. Could we have a motion to approve the agenda? Madam Clerk.
Got a hand up for Commissioner Nunnally.
Commissioner Nunley
Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
and Commissioner Floyd Huggins, in that order.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Huggins,
second,
okay, has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk, please.
Chairman McLaughlin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson.
Yes.
Commissioner Albright.
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
yes,
Commissioner Nunnally.
Yes.
Commissioner Ward.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have recognition of the Eagle Scout, Landon Cole Morris, and let me just take a personal privilege to thank him for this tremendous, outstanding award as an Eagle Scout. We're going to ask our manager at this time, would he proceed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this morning we'd like to recognize a young man from Boy Scout Troop 25, and he has been awarded the rank of Eagle Scout within the Boy Scouts of America. And normally we would have the young man and his Scoutmaster and family appear before the board and present this, but being in the virtual environment we continue to be in, we're going to recognize this basically virtually. So I'm going to read the certificate. I'll show it to the audience so they can see what we're going to present. It's entitled Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Landon Cole Morris for achieving the Eagle Scout Award. For his project, he built a large number of beds complete with soil for the Farmville Central High School agricultural class. This is presented by the Pitt County Board of Commissioners on this 14th day of September 2020, signed by the Chairman, Melvin McLaughlin of the Pitt County Board of Commissioners. So I'd like to congratulate him on this achievement, and we will make sure he receives the certificate.
Thank you very much. We need a motion to approve this recognition.
You have a hand up from Commissioner Nunley and a hand up from Commissioner White.
Commissioner Nunley?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Commissioner White?
I second that.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
Ballhorn,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Approved.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. The next item is a very, very good news item as the All-American County designation of Pitt County. And this has been a tremendous effort from our management team, Scott Elliott and his team. And we did send a letter of appreciation from the commissioners as well. Ms. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pitt County's designation by the National Civic League as an All-America County for 2020 has been a project long in the making. It's began about a year ago, and I don't want to steal a lot of thunder that our project coordinator, James Rhodes, is going to present to you. I'll call him up now and kind of let him walk us through what it took and where we're going with it and what the designation really means in terms of our organization. James.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We are excited about this designation. This is what we get when you send your manager off to a conference. It started about a year ago, actually, and he ran into someone with the National Civic League, and that's pretty much kicked off this year-long process. So we've got some information we'd like to share with you this morning. Of course, you'll be seeing a lot more of this shield that's on the screen right now because it's getting ready to be plastered all around the county, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. Most importantly, I'd just like to acknowledge first up that this was definitely a team effort. A lot of people involved. We'll try to get through all the acknowledgments toward the end of the presentation, but just know this wouldn't have happened unless we had a great, great team pulled together, and we did. So what was all this about this year? Enhancing health and well-being through civic engagement. That's a lot. We deal with trying to improve our health here in the community in a number of different ways, and we tried to highlight that through our application this time. So the other thing that we had to contend with as far as pulling our application together for this award, these programs, and we had to select 3, which was pretty tough to begin with. Each one had to be pretty much started within the last 5 years, had to be health and well-being related. It also brought along with it a lot of civic engagement. How was the outreach conducted? Who was involved? It had to be inclusive and diverse, and certainly with our community, that is a hot topic right now, and we've been at this a very long time, so it's just not something new for our community. Assistance to underserved areas, and you'll see that highlighted throughout these 3 programs. Innovative, a national issue, we've got that, and measurable impacts. We're seeing, even though some of our programs are very new that we highlighted, we've seen some great impacts. So what were those three programs? First up, the Local Reentry Council. And I know several of you have been at one point in time involved with this program. I know the chairman has. And basically this is bringing back to our local community people that have been previously incarcerated and making sure that they've got a good start in getting back here. Also to pair with that is some job training opportunities with 3rd Street Educational Center. And certainly even before folks are released, our sheriff has an outstanding program called SHARP, and that's the Sheriff's Heroin Addiction Recovery Program. And that was a big highlight, and a lot of questions came from the National Civic League representatives about this program. Our community paramedic program, an outstanding program that was developed here just a few years ago, and a lot of people involved with that, is with Vidant being one of the co-sponsors, as well as our emergency management department. And then the Farm and Food Council. This is a relatively new group. You may recall the board actually appointed this council just about 3 years ago. This is handled through our Cooperative Extension Office, Lee Guth, and a lot of things have already happened here with our Food Finder app, and also some improvements to our farmers market. And of course, you can't go without saying it, our community garden, which is just a gem of a attraction out at our district park. So I mentioned the team earlier, and this is kind of, I'll say, the core group. And this group actually put together a skit or a presentation with I'll say the primary authors being through our public information office, but a lot of time and effort went into this, and just a real neat skit. We won't actually show that this morning, but we hope you've had an opportunity to go on YouTube and view this. A lot of good collaboration. When we can get some of these folks together in a small setting, I think we also are able to talk about a lot of different things that are going on in the community, not just about those three programs that we were talking about that particular time. So the timeline, I mentioned it was almost a year-long process. We started with just an intent to apply last year in October, several team meetings, and at one of the major team meetings, we had well over 30 people to attend and talk about these three programs that we wanted to highlight. Application was submitted back in February. We were selected a month later as a semifinalist, and that was one of 20 communities that were highlighted throughout the United States. Of course, Pitt County being the only county government that was one of the top semifinalists. May to August, we spent a lot of time, and our public information office was instrumental in getting the skit together, honing in information from our application to make sure that we had something to show and keep within a 10-minute time frame. A lot of preparation, a lot of presentations back and forth, and then ultimately on August 17th, we did receive this award. And again, Pitt County being the only county as part of this award. Other activities, and again, it wasn't just a skit, it wasn't just application. We had a lot of other things going on as part of the conference that was held virtually. Alice Keene, who better to talk about partnerships, and she was interviewed about the well-being in the nation's network, a lot of different things, especially recreationally oriented. We had a festival of ideas, and you'll see in the picture here, we had our sheriff, we had Joyce Jones from formerly with Strive or Life of NC, and now with the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, as well as Donald Pilgreen with our 3rd Street Educational Center. All three talked about the reentry program. So that was a highlight and part of one of the concurrent sessions. We also had a youth award nominee, Kennedy Phipps, and we also highlighted our Tar River Community Band as part of a cultural showcase. So this is your core group on the left that was part of the skit, and a lot of time went into that. I think it was the best skit that was available throughout the nation this year. If you haven't seen it, again, hope you'll go online. And you can see kind of Janice and Lee front and center on the right side of the screen right now. This is when we were sitting in our Commissioners Auditorium waiting for the announcement about being one of the top 10 All-American communities throughout the nation. And we got that award. I think we were number 7 out of the 10 that were announced, no particular order, but they made us wait for a little while. I mentioned promotional activities. We want to get this shield out. We want to make you proud. A lot of time and effort has gone into this. The manager and the public information office are working on several different ways of getting the word out around our community. And we'll be talking a little bit later in today's meeting about some updates to our entryway signs to the county. And what a team. Probably can't read all this. The font had to be reduced somewhat to get all the team members on the screen this morning, but stand assured this group was together from the onset. So between Scott and the management staff, a lot of planning staff members, we mentioned the sheriff, Joyce Jones, Lee Guth, folks from emergency management, Kayla Hall and Catherine Nelson from Vidant Health, our public health director, as well as Amy Haddam, Ron Butler with Community Schools and Recreation, public information, very supported throughout the process, 3rd Street Education Center, our community garden technician, Joni Torres. Hope you'll again go on the YouTube video and watch Joni in action. And also information was provided through the sheriff's office staff on some of their activities. So all said, a great team effort. We're really proud to have this brought back to Pitt County. And again, I hope you're as excited as we are this morning. So Mr. Chairman, thank you for your support as part of this too.
Thank you very much, James, for that fine presentation. And again, we all congratulate you and your team and Scott, everybody who took a part in this. This is a very good recognition and it's put Greenville high on the map. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. At this time, Ms. Manager, we have a public hearing.
Yes, sir. You have a series of 4 public hearings, 3 on economic development, and then 1 with a franchise ordinance for a construction demolition debris landfill. We'll ask Kelly Andrews to come forward to conduct the first 3.
Good morning. Chairman McLaughlin and County Commissioners, I'm going to present a recommendation from the Pitt County Development Commission for incentives for Project Liger, which is a boat builder. This will be an expansion. They are in a adjacent county in Edgecombe County and very successful there. And they are expanding with a new line of boats. They could not expand in their existing location. And so they have identified a building in Pitt County, which would lead to an $8.9 million investment and approximately $3.38 million in new tax base for Pitt County. They would also add 60 jobs. They currently have 180 jobs or will have 180 jobs in Edgecombe County that will remain there, and we will rehire the furloughed workers that were furloughed due to COVID-19. That will bring them back up to 180 jobs plus the 60 jobs that they'll be creating in Pitt County. And they will have jobs in direct labor, sales, engineering, and management with an average salary of $41,085. They have received state support in a 1NC grant of $3,000 per job from NC Commerce, which is $180,000. A building reuse grant to upfit the building of $500,000 and a training grant of $1,200 a job or $72,000. Pitt County Development Commission recommends a 50% grant for 5 years, which is the equivalent of 50% tax. It would be an amount equivalent to 50% of the net increase in taxes for 5 years, capped at $50,000. And a return on investment between 3 and 4 years to recoup that money. And we ask for your consideration for this incentive from Pitt County.
So, Mr. Chairman, at this time, we would need to open the, open it up for a public hearing, even though we have nobody signed up for this virtual environment, either in written comments or to come on virtually. If I'll confirm that with the clerk. Yes. So I would still open the public hearing just so that we've technically met the requirements of the statutes.
Very good. Well, I now declare the public hearing open. And I understand we have no one to sign up.
That is correct. And the meeting room has people in it. Technically, this is a virtual meeting closed, but just in case somebody slipped in who thought they might be speaking, is anybody in the audience wanting to speak on this matter? Mr. Chairman, nobody is indicating so.
Okay. I now declare the public hearing closed. What's the pleasure of the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, you have Commissioner Nunley's hand up
Okay, Commissioner Nunn
and Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
and Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair, the economic development incentive packages presented by Ms. Andrews
Okay,
and the
thank you.
TCDC board.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick, thank you.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk.
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Here. Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
yes,
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. We now have Kelly Andrews again for Project Jackpot. Ms. Andrews.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the next project is Project Jackpot, which is an expansion of a local Pitt County industry in software development. And they design games specializing in electronic gaming. There is competition in other states such as Ohio and Nevada. They have proposed an investment of $15 million over 3 years and a campus setting for a growing company recently ranked in the top 4% in the US of fastest growing companies by Inc. magazine. They would create 200 jobs over 5 years with an average salary of $55,975, with jobs as artists, engineers, quality assurance, administration, directors, and producers of their gaming software. And they have been presented a proposal by NC Commerce, which includes a $3.35 million job development investment grant, a $584,000 Golden Leap grant for water and sewer, $280,000 in training, which is $1,400 per job, and $313,000 for road improvements by NCDOT. Pitt County Development Commission recommends an 80% grant for 8 years, which would be 80% of the net increase in taxes over an 8-year period, or approximately $460,000. Other local support comes from the City of Greenville, which is extending their job creation grant for 2 years, or potentially, I believe that has not been voted on, but we'll be seeking a job creation grant for 2 years for $1,000 per job. I believe that will be capped at $200,000. And Greenville Utilities will waive their connection fees up to $20,000.
Okay.
Mr.
Very
Chairman,
good.
if you open up to open the public hearing.
Yes, at this time, we have the public hearing open, declare it's open. Everyone to sign up, Mr. Manager?
No, sir, in like manner to the first one.
Okay,
And is anybody in the room wishing to speak? Seeing no one come forward, Mr. Chairman, I think you can close the public hearing.
okay. We declare the public hearing now closed. What's the pleasure of the commissioners?
You have a hand up from Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
I would like to make a motion that we accept and approve the economic development incentive package. Thank you.
okay. Also have Mr. Fitzpatrick, was it?
I'd like to second that motion.
That's been moving properly second. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. This is again, Ms. Andrews, Project X-ray.
X-ray. So the third project is Project X-ray, which is the relocation of a manufacturer and distributor of a full line of medical and dental imaging accessories for radiology diagnostics out of New York State. They have 180 different products, including multiple patents. And this includes aprons, gloves, caps, and eyewear for X-ray imaging. And they are expecting new lines to be added. There's competition in South Carolina and Virginia. And we are expecting them to at least to purchase the shell building that the Pitt County Development Commission built several years ago. We expect a $6.5 million investment and 76 jobs with an average salary of $42,412. And there would be jobs as assemblers, sheet metal workers, sewing machine operators, mechanics, shipping clerks, sales office, and executive management, and other supervisors. And the Pitt County Development Commission is recommending to sell the shell building for $2 million and also to award a 65% for 5-year economic development grant. And again, that is 65% of the net increase in taxes on this project for 5 years, capped at $150,000. And the state incentive includes a $200,000 1NC, a building reuse grant of $500,000, and a training grant of $1,000 a job, or $76,000. And other local support includes a job creation grant from the city of Greenville of $1,000 a job, or $152,000 over 2 years. And GUC will provide connection fees at no charge.
Thank you very much, Ms. Andrews. Now declare the public hearing open. Anyone's signed, Mr. Manager?
Mr. Chairman, as in the former cases, no one has signed up. And again, we'll offer anybody in the room who'd like to come forward. Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, you can close the public hearing.
Okay, I now declare the public hearing closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, you have a hand up from Commissioner Fitzpatrick, Nunley, and Ward.
Okay, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. I move that we accept the recommendation and approve it.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Nunley.
Like to second that motion.
Okay, has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk.
Chairman McLawhorn,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you very much, Ms. Andrews, for your presentation. And now we go to Mr. Demery, franchise renewal. John Demery.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Back in December of 2000, the Pitt County Board of Commissioners approved a franchise for the C&D landfill to construct and operate a construction and demolition debris landfill on the site off of US 264 near Pactolus. Franchise over the years has been renewed back in 2003 and was later modified in 2008 to extend the service area and increase the permitted tons. Franchise expired July 30th, 2020 of this year, and the site is permitted by the state, and the county continues to contract with the facility. That's where our C&D material will go to. Upon 30 days notice, which has been properly provided, a public hearing is required to renew the franchise. Following a public hearing pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 153A-46, the franchise ordinance must be passed at 2 regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners. It is recommended after the public hearing today that the franchise be renewed for a 5-year term with further renewal to be considered in 2025. The proposed franchise renewal ordinance is attached.
Thank you very much. Now declare the public hearing open. Anyone signed this night?
No, sir. Nobody signed up as in the former cases. Is anybody in the audience wishing to come forward and speak? Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, you can close the public hearing.
I now declare the public hearing closed. It's the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, you hand up for Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Commissioner Perkins Williams. Commissioner Williams.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve this.
Okay, has been a motion that we approve. Do we have a second, Mr. Manager?
Not yet, sir. Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Commissioner Huggins.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we approve this. Madam Clerk.
Chairman McGawhorn,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now we have a public address to the board, Mr. Manager.
At this time, nobody has signed up unless you're somebody in the audience. Seeing none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We now have items for report. We now have Mr. Barnett come, if he would, financial report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. You have in front of you the financial report in for the month of August 31st. This is our second month of our fiscal year, so we are 16.67% through the year. On the general fund side, we have collected 34.1% of our anticipated revenues, and we have spent 16.5% of our expenses. Compared to last year at this time, we are doing much better from our revenue to expense aspect due to the fact last year we had purchased the Warren Farm property, and also this year we had a very strong start to our on our ad valorem property tax collection side. In our solid waste fund, we have collected 44.10% of our anticipated revenues for the year, and we have only spent 11.75. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, you have a hand up from Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Ward.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the financial report, the good financial report.
Thank you. Commissioner Nunley.
I'll second it.
It's been moving properly second. Madam Clerk.
Chairman McGawhorn,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. We now have Ms. Laura English to come before us on the tax collection report.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know, I cannot recall if Laura's been before the board or before or not, but she is one of our assistant tax administrators. And I'd like to welcome her here this morning. She's standing in for Sam Kroom on this report. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Welcome.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners.
morning.
You have before you the August 2020 tax collection report. This covers our collection rate for real and personal property taxes through August 31st. And the rate this year is 61.34%. The combined rate for the same period last year was 60.96%. The tax administration continues to pursue all enforcement remedies available to us under the North Carolina Machinery Act for prior year taxes. And we request that you approve the report as presented.
Mr. Chairman, this is a good news report item, that being that the percent compared to a year ago pre-COVID is up higher. Folks have obviously taken advantage of the discount rate that's being offered. Technically, taxes are not due until January 5th of 2021. So we feel good about this so far.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. English. It's a pleasure of the board.
Yeah, hand up Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Ward.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the tax collection report, a good one.
Thank you. Commissioner Nunley.
Second the motion.
It's been moving properly. Second, Madam Clerk.
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. English. We now have the Public Health Director report. Dr. Silvernail, if you will come.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Give me a second. Just pull up the state dashboard for us. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, other commissioners. Want to remind you this Thursday marks 13 incubation cycles or 26 weeks since the first case of COVID-19 was identified in Pitt County. As of this morning, we had 4,294 confirmed cases in Pitt County, the largest group being in the 18 to 24-year-old age group, excuse me. We estimate that 3,309 of those individuals have recovered. Our estimated active cases as of this morning are 960. That's down a bit from last week. We were a little over 1,200 active cases last week. Our cases per 1,000 are 5.2, which is decreasing. We were at 7.1 last week. Our total fatalities, sadly, we've had 25 individuals pass from COVID-19 during these 25 plus weeks of COVID. 56% of those individuals were 75 years of age or older. Our case fatality rate in Pitt County is 0.6%. That's a little bit increased from last week. We were at 0.5% last week. For comparison, the generally reported case fatality rate for influenza is 0.1%. So we are, 5 to 6 times that in terms of our COVID case fatality rate. The flip side of that is that with a case fatality rate of 0.6, that means that 99.4% of cases do survive. So while it's considerably higher than influenza, still the vast majority of individuals do survive this infection. Our percentage of COVID tests returning positive has fallen to 9.8 from about mid-April until the surge, which I'll show you on the state dashboard in a second. We had run about 6%, 6 to 7% in Pitt County and have been fairly stable there. With the surge brought about by the reopening of the university, we rose in our internal data as high as 17%. I think on the state dashboard, we were in the mid-teens at its peak. Last week, we were about 12.1 on the state dashboard. We are now at 9.8, so that is also decreasing. Want to move over and show you the state data briefly, and then we'll go to the county data. This is the daily cases across the state. You can see that the curve is is pretty flat. Completed tests seems to cycle with peaks as outbreaks happen. Currently hospitalized across the state, there are 831 individuals across the state currently hospitalized. We go, this is the state epi curve. Here's the state peak. We had been declining for several weeks. With the reopening of the universities, we've seen a second smaller peak, and that does appear to be waning. I'm going to shift to our county data now. Pitt County, not Polk County. You can see generally we've had a very flat curve throughout this. The up and down spike here was a data glitch where a number of cases were reported and then removed. So we can't actually have negative infections. That was the laboratory electronically removing cases. The first spike here with 66 cases was one of our nursing home outbreaks. And then we had a gradual increase sort of after the Labor Day weekend and 4th of July. This is the onset of our Pitt County testing program. You can see that we rose some in the number of cases we were finding. Again, our testing program represents active case finding. And then this gets to where we had the university spike. And again, it appears that we are on the backside of that university spike, returning to prior levels of disease here in the county, although we're not quite back to where we were yet. Age distribution, when I scroll down, in the past, this kind of looked like a hand. There's 6 fingers, not 5, but looks kind of like a hand, with the largest group being the 25 to 49-year-old group. That group has been overtaken by almost 10 points by the 18 to 24-year-old group. Our 0 to 17-year-old group, which represents mostly our K through 12 students, would be in that group. Maybe the 17-year-olds, a few college-age students, has remained relatively stable at about 8%. They're a small group, but the big growth in our cases has come from the college-age population, college and graduate age population of 18 to 24. And I think that's all I wanted to show you on the dashboard for this morning. Testing, we continue to have open testing on Tuesday evenings and Thursday mornings. We are testing more and more people in terms of contact investigations, and those folks we actually, I guess we could say it's by invitation or by appointment. So as we identify these clusters, we give them a defined time to come and be tested by our staff. It helps us minimize the use of personal protective equipment by bringing a group in for that testing. Obviously, we do that with appropriate precautions. CVS Pharmacy has opened 2 sites in Pitt County through their Minute Clinics. One is at the Farmville location. The other one is at the Winterville location on Fire Tower Road. We are working on options for a daily testing site. We have engaged with a staffing firm, more of a staffing broker that has access to recruit individuals from 132 agencies across the country to bring in staffing for us. We are working through the legal issues of the contract, and that's going to take a little bit more time to make that happen. Fill you in briefly on Pitt County Health Department. At this point, we have 5 open public health nurse positions. We have candidates for those and are planning to interview for those in the near future. We have 1 physician extender position open, a nurse practitioner position open. That's a new position that was created in this budget year. We've interviewed a candidate for that and hope to make an offer to that candidate this week. Our environmental health division director position has been open since April. We are interviewing some candidates for that this week. Good news in our WIC program. WIC, with changes that have been made to WIC during the COVID emergency, we are in excess of 5,000 on our caseload, which represents about 116% or so of our required baseline. And I received news this morning that that will result in an increase in our WIC funding for the upcoming year. I will tell you our staff are fatigued, but we continue to work. Morale is generally pretty good, although we are all somewhat exhausted after 26 weeks of response. Happy to take your questions.
Okay. Thank you
Mr.
very
Chairman,
much.
you have a hand up. Commissioner Albright.
Okay. Commissioner Albright, you said?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the report. I'm really delighted to hear that the CVS sites have worked out, Dr. Silvernell, and also that you're making progress on getting the daily sites, and we look forward to updates on that. I wonder if you could say anything about what's going on at ECU, if you can talk about the news and the uptick in cases and how that's playing out.
They did, as of the end of last week, identify 12 additional clusters, most of those in Greek life housing. They continue to have issues with, this is something we struggle with in public health on almost all public health aspects, and it goes to perceived risk. And the students believe themselves to be at low risk, which is likely true for most of them. And for them, they consider COVID a nuisance and seem to, in some cases, to be less protective of themselves than others might be. The vast majority of on-campus residential students have gone home. They have about 800 students living on campus. Approximately 25% of that, or about 200 of those students, have already had COVID. The Greek-like houses, I don't have numbers for all the Greek-like houses. Those houses are under isolation. We have been working very closely with Dr. Lanika Wright from Student Health Services to assist with their contact tracing. They put a number of public health students into a training program and created a parallel workforce through the Student Health Center there to help us with contact tracing and improve our boots on the ground at no cost to the health department of the county to do that. And that has worked very, very well for the university. So they are making progress. There are plans to bring students back in January for the spring semester. At this point, they would all be in single dorm rooms. There would be no double occupancy or multiple occupancy dorm rooms in an effort to reduce spread in the dorm rooms, which counted for a large part of the ECU outbreak.
Thank you. Do you know if the fraternities and sororities are fully housed, or are all the houses full?
That I don't know. In settings where cases were identified, if individuals were isolated, separated from the herd, so to speak, and then the others were quarantined, some of those students may remain in town. Some of those students have gone home. I do not have a hard number for you on that.
Okay, thank you. And thank you again to you and your staff. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you have a hand up by Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Commissioner Williams? Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Souvenir, I appreciate services that you give to the community. I'm interested in knowing about the schools. Is there a larger number of students showing up with COVID throughout the county as it relates to the schools? And is there tracking within those schools cases?
Yes, ma'am. The school district did the same thing in terms of using its school nurses. They also have hired some contract nursing staff and assigned a coordinator to help with contact tracing and tracking in the school district. And they work closely with Pitt County Health Department staff, our communicable disease staff. So far, we have identified cases within Pitt County schools, and forgive me, I do not have a hard number for that for you this morning, but we have not identified transmission within the school yet. So while there have been cases, these have been cases that were acquired outside of sanctioned school activities, and then the student was identified to have been in classroom with their protective measures in class. Class sizes are generally no more than 10 to 12 students per class, many of them smaller on the alternating weeks that the children or students are actually in school. And then recently the school district added a virtual day. So students are in school 4 days a week now instead of 5 for those that attend in person. And then that's every other week. So they seem to be doing well, and knock on wood, we're happy that we have not identified transmission within the school yet at this point.
The final question relating to the schools deals with sports. Are there any sports happening within the school system? And is there COVID related instances?
At the end of summer, Ms. Perkins Williams, there were some of the practices had started in terms of conditioning, but I think right now the fall sports season for all fall sports has been postponed until sometime after the first of the year. So there may be some conditioning workouts going on, but there's no actual game play going on per se. And the conditioning workouts that were going on were all being done outside and all being done very socially distanced in small groups with the student athletes spread out very far apart. So there was no hands-on in football practice. It was all conditioning and done with adequate social distancing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. So any more hands, Mr. Manager?
I believe that's all the hands we have on that topic, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Thank you again, Dr. Silvernail.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yes, sir. Manager report, Ms. Elliott.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a few items to report on. First one, your next meeting dates. Tonight, obviously, the board is aware we do have a meeting at 6 p.m. at the Ag Center in the Mark W. Owens Jr. Auditorium. This will be an in-person meeting. This will not be Zoom or virtual. And in order to have a quasi-judicial hearing and in order to conduct I believe the 3 public hearings we have, we will need the board members present in person.
On that, Mr. Manager, on that, I think we have to have at least five commissioners present. Do we have?
Yes, I believe we have 8 who are planning to be there. Kimberly, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
8 of the 9 will be present. Item B concerns the Candlewick Area Sanitary Sewer District. As the board will recall, we completed the first phase of sanitary sewer by having a lift station built and to serve that area from GUC, also serving a number of the households in the sanitary sewer district. We are now to the point where we are recommending to embark upon the second application for CDBG funds. These are federal funds, the Community Development Block Grant Infrastructure Funds. We're looking to apply for approximately $2 million worth of funds, which should complete a good portion of the homes out there in the district, as well as maybe some to the north of the district that either have failing systems or near failing systems. We've met with the Candlewick Area Sanitary District board members, and they are obviously in agreement and support the county's embarking upon another application. There would be a $15,000 cost of this in order to prepare the application and do income surveys within the area, due to the fact that the households have to meet a certain percent of the households have to meet a low moderate income threshold, as well as 20% of the homes in the area have to be failing septic systems. So if the board is good at that, we will proceed and go forward on that. Don't necessarily need board action per se, but we will be coming back to you in the future for other actions. The next item is a good news item, kind of along the lines of the All-America County 2020 designation. We are happy to announce that Pitt County has received for the 4th consecutive year the Digital County Survey Award. And this is a award that is awarded by the Center for Digital Government, the CDG, and as well as in cooperation with the National Association of Counties. This was announced at their recent annual Digital County Survey. This means that Pitt County won this award, being in a population category of between 150,000 and basically 250,000. And we were named in the country number 7 out of 10 in this category for our digital county, basically our information technology capabilities and the type of services that MIS, with the leadership of Mike Taylor, that he provides to him and his staff. So we're proud to receive this award once again, and it shows our cutting edge technology that we implement within our departments and the services to the citizens of Pitt County as such. So we'd like to thank Mike for his leadership and just again acknowledge this award.
Yes, I'd like to also place Ms. Bannon wants to thank Mike Taylor again for his fine leadership, as you just indicated, and all his staff. This is a very, very good news item. Again, thank you for achieving that.
On the next item, this is a workers' compensation claim settlement. This is a matter the board was brought before the board, and we have settled this case. A former employee was Samuel Hardison, and the amount is $150,000, which was within the authority granted by the Board of County Commissioners. That's just a report out to go on the minutes. Next item, excuse me. Next item is another good news item. This is an award from the American Heart Association. Pitt County has received the 2020 mission called the Lifeline EMS Gold Plus recognition. And again, this is by the American Heart Association. This honors EMS systems for their significant performance in providing care to patients suffering from what is called ST elevation myocardial infarction. Thank you. A little beyond my knowledge here, which is for heart attacks. Additionally, the mission is for Lifeline programs, recognizes organizations as an integral part of the STEMI system of care, impacting the overall care and outcome of the patient. This achievement illustrates a commitment to providing guidelines-based care while meeting high standards of performance. We'd like to thank our emergency management department, our EMS squads, both county-run and our nonprofit partners, in helping us earn this achievement.
On behalf of the commissioner, Ms. Elliott, we certainly commend you and the EMS staff for the job well done. So thank you again for what you do.
On the next item concerning the Pitt County Industrial Development Commission, we've had the resignation of Scott Downell as the director of that. The Development Commission Board of Directors is in the process of naming the interim director, and that will be all the details of that coming out in the very near future. And then on the last one, our Public Information Office, we've had a transition in that office as well. Our Public Information Office Director, Mike Emery, has taken a job in North Carolina and is resigned, and we are naming as the interim director Carla Hansen while we go out and advertise for this position. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have the item for consent. Do we have a motion for that, please?
Yes, Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Nunley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move that we approve the items for consent.
Okay. Do we have a second, Mr. Manager?
Commissioner Ward.
Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Ward.
I second that motion.
That's been moving properly. Second, Madam Clerk.
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. We now have items for discussion, and the first item is social services. Ms. Jan Elliott, Community Development Block Grant. Welcome.
Good morning to everybody. We are here to ask permission to apply for a community development block grant around coronavirus. As many of you may know, the governor released $175 million in pandemic relief, and $28 million of that was from the federal community development block grant, the coronavirus funding that was provided there. And it is to work primarily around eviction prevention and utility payment concerns. It is to be distributed to local governments based on application, and it's for counties of population 200,000 or less, or cities 50,000 or less. And the grants are being distributed after application based on a first come basis. So we are hurrying to make sure that we can get an application in if you approve it. The maximum grant is $900,000. There is no required county match. Certainly the county will be providing space for staff to work and those kinds of things, but no specific match. This would have certainly an impact on keeping families and individuals in their homes and making sure they have their utilities. We get a little over $1 million or right around $1 million every year for utility assistance. And we are seeing a lot of folks coming through our doors already asking for that assistance. So this would allow us to increase that. It will also have a major impact on the folks in this community who actually provide those services. The utility companies that have gone without pay for some period of time, as have the landlords. And so this would be an important service for them too. The income limit for this particular grant is $53,360. You must have a COVID-related issue for qualifying for the assistance. And as I said, I'm asking for your approval to apply for this grant today.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, you have a hand up Commissioner Perkins Williams and Commissioner White.
Okay, Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Mr. Chairman, I approve with urgency.
Okay, Commissioner White.
I make the motion rather. I'm sorry.
Okay, Commissioner White.
Second.
Has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McGawhorn,
Yes?
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Elliott. At this time, we have the portrait request. I think it's been corrected. The district.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item came before the board back on August the 17th, and it was actually removed from the agenda, but this time it's being brought back for your consideration. The original request did not come necessarily from the courthouse directly via the judges, which is normally, I think in the past, sometimes how these requests are made. It's been asked to be placed back on this agenda for your consideration. And at this point in time, I would recommend the board consider this if that is your desire, but instead of having the portrait hung in the Superior Court room, it'd be hung in a district court room, since this individual was a district court judge and there are no district court judge portraits up in the Superior Court room per se. So this is for the board's consideration this morning to reconsider if for your desire.
We have any hands up?
I'm sorry, yes. You have Commissioner Nunley, Perkins, Williams, and Ward.
Commissioner Nunley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we invite the family of James E. Martin to present a portrait for the district courtroom in Pitt County Courthouse.
Okay, Commissioner.
So again, you had Commissioner Perkins, Williams, and Ward.
And Commissioner Ward. No. Okay, Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Get to unmute. Mr. Chairman, I second the motion, and I think it would be great for the family since Mr. Martin was a member of the Bethel community.
Okay, Commissioner Ward. Okay.
After we take the vote, I would like to offer a motion relative to setting up a regular committee with the courthouse, people from the courthouse, and a commissioner or someone from county government to serve to bring these requests back to us in more of an organized set way. Thank you.
Very good. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, very good. Ms. Manager, you've heard the recommendation by Commissioner Ward that we could establish some type of committee in the future in terms of looking into this.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, based upon that suggestion, I would suggest that the board allow you as the chairman of the Board of Commissioners to appoint a committee made up of a number of individuals, more like the senior resident Superior Court judge, the senior resident Superior Court judge, the district court judge, the high official in that office, public defender, county attorney, myself, somebody from the Bar Association, and possibly the clerk of court to meet and possibly discuss coming up with some formal written procedures as to how portrait requests going forth would be handled for the Pitt County Courthouse. And if there's consensus of the board, we can, we'll bring back a recommendation.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Chairman, there's a hand up by Commissioner Ward.
Commissioner Ward?
Do you need a motion for that? Because I'm certainly in favor of it.
I think it would be appropriate to do so.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we establish that committee to bring forward a committee to present these portrait hangings for us in the future.
Okay, there's a hand up from Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to second the motion with gratitude.
Okay. Has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman Ballhorn,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson, Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Next, we have the Churches Outreach Network request. Mr. Manager.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have Pastor Rodney Coles here this morning, who's making a request of both Pitt County government, the city of Greenville, and Pitt County United Way regarding the Toys for Tots and I believe the Feeding Our Children program. And I'll basically let Pastor Coles make the presentation and provide comment as needed.
Okay, welcome, Pastor Cole.
Well, good morning. And again, let me take this off my face. Good morning and thank you again, Chairman and Manager Scott. We thank you for allowing me to do this presentation. I want to first explain who I am real quick. I've been here 15 years and as a clergy is about bringing information to our community. And for the last 15 years, we volunteers and that's what we kind of do. We are asking for a request for a space that is for the community, be calling it a Community Unity Network Resource Center. We'll go through this presentation pretty fast. I see, all right, pretty fast and what we do. It's kind of hard to give my whole biography, what I do in the community, but this is just a brief. We work with a feeding program with weekend book bags. We also work with senior programs, which we're doing right now, 960 boxes per month. We also work with residents of low income housings. We also work with Ms. Jan as well as for food voucher programs that comes out for those who Pitt requested. And we also work with other agencies for hygiene issues. We actually help families identify them who needs hygiene issues. As you see on the second picture here, those are pallets, which our emergency management allowed me to use his facility, which we had 20 pallets supposed to be coming down. We only had 6 pallets come down. We have 14 more pallets on the way to the Greenville area. Also, we work along with the other agencies at the Housing Authority, Council on Aging. What we do with Council on Aging, we get about between 13 to 14 pallets of continent supplies for the seniors. Richard Zach's in charge of that. He makes sure there's no duplicate of services and we bring all that to his facility. And because of the capacity, we got to put it outside in front of his door. We also want to mention a little bit about the disaster recovery. As you know that in 2016, we have a disaster in our community, which was called Matthew. At least that's the point, time that I was here. With that, we have a disaster recovery. And so we actually getting supplies from different areas. So we need to have a space for that. I want to mention a little bit about the cleaning and the hygiene items. When COVID came through our community, we had some stuff inside the facility, which was broken into in the month of May. We have First Presbyterian Church who have helped me to get more stuff so we can give out to the communities. I also want to mention briefly that I am the coordinator for Toys for Tots for Pitt County. Right now, we have in-kind donations of $30,000 of toys that come down to Pitt County, and I have nowhere to place those toys at. Last year, we did 28,803 children in Pitt County alone. I've been the coordinator right now for 7 years. I've been running Toys for Tots for 13 years. So this is I kind of went through most of the whole presentation, kind of give the idea what we do. A lot of our stuff is in-kind donation that comes to the community. Right now, I have 2 tractor trailers coming down here with 56 pallets of products that come down for cleaning supplies. And I had to ask Ronald and Donald Teller, would they be able to hold it when those 2 pallets come in? So I kind of really went through this whole presentation pretty quick. I'm surprised at myself. I did good. You know, we could be long-winded at times. Amen. The key thing of this facility is a facility is going to be used for the community. And that's the purpose of this community, this facility. We have committees, people together, bringing other people together along with this here, working with agencies so we can continue giving this stuff to the community. For 15 years I've been here, 15 years what I've been doing here is continue helping the community. My daughter asked me a question yesterday when I got back home. She said, Dad, you've been working. She's 14 years old now. You've been working all the time. Every time I see you work or you going to church, you're doing that. Why you work so much? I told my daughter, I said, if the world is moving at 67,000 miles per minute, why are we standing still? We have to continue doing what we need to do to help in our community. And I am open for questions.
Thank you very much for that very good presentation, Pastor Cole. I must say that Pastor Cole has done and continue to do a great job and great service for the city of Greenville, Pitt County, and surrounding areas. And we appreciate your services that you do, Pastor Cole. Mr. Manager, do you have any hands?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mary Perkins Williams and Chris Nunley.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Manager, this question is for you. Do we have the space that Pastor Cole is available for, that Pastor Cole is asking?
So formally, we had a lease arrangement with Toys for Tots at the Pitt County Technology Enterprise Center in the old Prep Shirt building. And at that point, it was just the Toys for Tots was the only thing in there. There was a subsequent request to put some of the Feeding Our Children program in there as well. I think there was some overlap and some of that program did enter into that space. There was some issue, I believe, with possibly rodents and so forth. Long story short, the Pitt County Development Commission asked the program overall to be relocated elsewhere because they have they've shown that space to 2 different clients who might like to have that space upfitted and lease it, and they have voted formally to have that space used exclusively for development technology enterprise purposes. Also, there was some concern about being there's some pharmaceutical type operations out there. Didn't know how compatible his operation was with that and the security, and that's some of the reasons why they asked. I think Patrick Holds, you were out there. How many years would you say? 5?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Oh, okay, well, Mr. Manager, do we have any other space available? Because during COVID and in this district, I know there's a lot of need, but at Christmas time, most hearts go out to children, especially those who are indigent and have needs, and they want to be treated as they see others in the community. Do we have any other space that may be made available for this Christmas time for Pastor Cole as it relates to what he's doing for children at Christmas time and the COVID stuff? Because I have, this area has received some of the personal stuff like masks from his organization. We distributed a case down at the Pike Tollis area in Triumph where we gave them out until the time ran out. So he does provide good things for the community and those who have need and are not able to purchase those items. Do we have any spaces available for this kind of thing?
We do not. The only space would be the Technology Enterprise Center. He's needing warehouse space that has a dock in which a 18-wheeler can back up to. He needs the ability to have forklifts move this product. And the request you see this morning is much more encompassing than just Toys for Tots, which is what we formally dealt with at the TEC.
Well, Pastor Cole, You heard the manager's response to my questions. I don't know what the county can do as it relate to you. I'm certainly supportive of that. And then maybe some of the people who are listening may have space. But do you have any other idea as to what? And I appreciate your appeal to the county for any vacant space sitting around. But what can we do? I don't know.
Well, may I answer that? We have a facility that we could use from Jew White, who owns a facility on Brompton Lane, and wedding is going to run around $31,000 a year. So we're asking for the partnership, which would be it would be the county as well as United Way as well as the city. If we can get the county to be on along with it, these other two NSD will join on. That we have a facility that where we could use over there on Brompton Lane. So the request is to ask was the county will help along with that. That's the request this morning. I believe that they already seen the facility. They already spoke with the owner of the facility. So we asked for the request from the county, and there's a hearing I have on Wednesday with United Way, as well as with the city manager, Ms. Ann Ward. So I believe that they are already a part of one of the joint ons, but the key is if we can get support from the county, that can help us dearly on to continue this effort for our community.
If I can interject, so the formal request is for each of the three jurisdictions, the county, the city, and United Way, to agree to providing $10,000 apiece for the period of 1 year to help Pastor Coles cover the lease or rent on this facility. And in this 1 year period, he would then be asked to come up with a fundraising campaign. So moving forward in year 2 and years thereafter, that they could pay the rent themselves.
What do you see the possibility of meeting that request, Mr. Manager and Mr. Barnett?
I'll defer that to Pastor Coles in terms of year 2 moving forward.
Well, you know, if I had a crystal ball, I could tell you what every day is going to be like. I will say that let's start out where we can get the facility, and we will be pitted on fundraisers and also looking at some of the fundings that may be available to help for the community. I think on a partnership with United Way would be a good part, because United Way and other those who may contribute towards it, they know that what they're contributing to help us with this effort for the community.
Well, for 1 year,
well,
for 1 year, I don't mind voting in favor of approving this request for 1 year, and until you see things going forward. You know, COVID has really impacted us on unique manners, and we just need to reach out in as much as possible. So I can vote in favor of that if someone offers the motion.
Mr. Chairman, you also have hand up from Commissioner Nunley and Commissioner Ann Floyd Huggins.
Okay, Commissioner Nunley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Pastor Coles, for coming in for your presentation today. Have a couple questions for you, and then a question for our county manager. So Pastor Coles, Ms. Perkins-Williams, Commissioner Perkins-Williams did touch on a couple of my questions, but I guess my overriding concern, you know, we have food security is a big deal, and it will be a continuing big deal throughout the course of the COVID pandemic. And it does appear that part of your efforts will be geared towards mitigating those risks. That being said, however, there isn't also our county government is strained, and if I'm not mistaken, we have in our last budget approval, we have not expanded into additional areas due to constraints that we might have. And so just to communicate that this is a tight fiscal environment for everyone, and there's also a tight, how do we meet those needs? So how does your organization, how is your organization situated to ensure that you will be able to be self-sustaining in this effort. If your community partnerships that you've approached, the county, the city, and United Way, do come on board and support you this year, what is your organization's commitment toward becoming self-sustaining in your efforts to maintaining a space to combat this very serious problem?
Right now, we have a yearly fundraiser, and that fundraiser is really only for the helping the community with people with rent. We normally get a very low amount of money that comes in for that. So I will be bringing that to our chair on our board to how we could expand that a little bit more and ask United Way and others to kind of contribute with that. A lot of our stuff that we get coming in is mostly for in-kind donations. So to kind of have the building for the 1 year, we just got to try to reach out and see what others to help along with that. Even with we lost over $8,000 worth of stuff in the warehouse, we had the community come forward and say, we want to help you get it back done, help get the stuff back. And we had one of the churches who opened his whole door for us, which was First Presbyterian, and also help us make sure we got the stuff back into the community. We have a lot of good folks who have a lot of big hearts, and I believe that if we just leave it, that seed there, let that seed grow. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I have not seen a county with so much heart and people what they have here. I mean, by getting an award here, as James mentioned this morning, it's well-deserved in this community.
Now, Scott, maybe this question is best posed for you. I know that there was a former relationship with the Pitt County Development Commission at the incubator site, and the decision was made to have that as exclusively for incubation. What would have been the value that was, I guess, tendered to this church outreach network over the course of that relationship? What would have been the value that our county is committed to supporting this effort of Pastor Coles and those partners?
It's hard to say because the space at the incubator, the Technology Enterprise Center, is highly discounted because we are trying to incubate companies and to launch them out into the community. So the lease rates we have out there are highly subsidized for that purpose comparing, I'm not really sure how many square feet he had out there compared to the number of square feet and the rate he's paying per square foot at his new facility. We'd have to look at that and bring that back to you for consideration. And one thing I don't know is, Pastor Coles, when would this lease begin?
They are ready to make it happen as soon as we can. He called last week to want to know, because I think you guys had a meeting with him and spoke with him and want to know what's happening.
So I've got, and thank you. And then one last question really has to, and this is just in-house conflicts checking. Wonder if the landlord for this premises is associated at all with Church's Outreach Network, if they're any member of your board or has had any former association with the organization.
He's not on our board, Jew White. I would have tried to get the building for free, if he was. But we connected with him in 2016 when Matthew came in, when we needed to get a facility, and that's what we was using the facility for at that time then. So, and again, like I said, I gave them his number so they can call and connect with him. So I only knew him through Matthew when Matthew came through, and that's how I connected to him. Through actually Robin Bob Hudak.
Thank you, Pastor Coles.
You're welcome.
Presentation.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Pastor Cole. Thank you for all the work that you do here in our county and across the district, really, because you work with other counties other than just Pitt County. And everything that has been said, all the questions that have been raised with by Commissioner Nunley and Commissioner Perkins Williams, I listened to, but you've come before us this morning with a one-time request, and that I would, Mr. Chairman, I would like to offer a motion that we grant this one-time request upon the contingents that the other two entities participate in this. So, and I believe that's $10,000. So that is my motion.
Okay. Thank you very much. Commissioner Perkins Williams offered a motion previously. Would that be in line with your motion, Commissioner Perkins Williams?
There was no motion previously.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't offer a motion. I said I would be in favor of voting favorably for it, but I wanted someone else to make the motion.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Huggins just made a motion. We do have a second.
Mr. Chairman, so you had Commissioner Ward's hand up previously, and you have Commissioner Nunley's hand up. Also, Commissioner Lauren White, her power had went off. She is back on, but she was asking for the motion to be restated so she can hear it.
Okay, we restate the motion, Commissioner Huggins.
Okay, my motion. Okay, I'm sorry, I was muted for a minute there. My motion is to grant this one-time request on the contingents that the other two entities participate. And this is, I believe, a $10,000 request. So that is my motion.
Okay, okay, Commissioner Nunley. Commissioner Nunley.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
That's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, you still had Commissioner Ward's hand up prior to the motion.
Commissioner Ward.
Well, I was going to ask the question if we could wait on this, but we've already made the motion and got it seconded, because I'd like for us to wait until the pastor makes the presentation to the other two entities and we get an idea about how everybody feels about it. So, but that can't be done now, so that's fine.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. All right. We'll move on now to the item for decision. This is the courtroom flagpole installation at Tim Corley.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Give me 1 second here while Good morning. So this item is a good news item for the courthouse. If y'all so choose to approve it, it's a contract with Meridian Design Building of North Carolina LLC to install 3 flagpoles at the southeast corner of the courthouse property. Be a nice flagpole installation of a 25-foot pole and 2 20-foot poles, one on either side, housing the American flag, the North Carolina state flag, and the Pitt County flag. There'll be sidewalk installed around it for access to it, as well as some tree trimming around that area, just so that the flags don't get caught up in any of the limbs that currently exist above that area. There's also an associated budget amendment with this. The total price for the 3 poles and the concrete and tree removal is $13,171.64. So we're asking for approval of this, as well as approval of the associated budget amendment. I've also included a picture. This is somewhat representative of what the flagpoles will look like. Again, we will have kind of concrete around them. It'll be very nice there at that corner. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about this item.
Very good. Thank you. We have any hands up, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you have Commissioner Nunley and Commissioner Ward.
Commissioner Nunley and Commissioner Ward in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we approve the purchase and placement of the new flagpole installation.
Very good. Commissioner Ward.
I second that motion.
Okay, has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
yes,
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Good. Thank you very much. Now we have Mr. James Rose again on All-America City Award signs and panels. Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we alluded to earlier, we are requesting as part of your motion today that we change the slogan on our entryway signs to Pitt County. You may recall we've got 22 welcome to Pitt County signs at the major North Carolina and US routes that are coming into the county. Currently, we are promoting, of course, another award that we received back in 2016, where we were designated a People's Choice Award for a great place for healthy living. So at this point in time, we'd like to change that slogan to accompany what we already have as our home of East Carolina University. DOT only allows 2 slogans. The other one would be All America County 2020. This information is included in your package this morning as part of a resolution. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we would like to recommend adoption of that resolution.
Thank you very much. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, your hand up from Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Ward.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to recommend that we approve this with a lot of pride.
Very good. Commissioner Nunley.
Second that.
Has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
yes,
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Thank you. This is now a resolution to supporting the CARES and Acts and funding from Janice Gallagher, our attorney.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. The Pitt Greenville Airport has asked us to provide support by way of a resolution to the United States Congress, asking them to adopt legislation allowing the payroll support program under the CARES Act to continue through March 31st, 2021. It terminated on September 30th, or will terminate on September 30th. And as a result, there are 15 jurisdictions where American Airlines, the only commercial provider at the Pitt Greenville Airport, will shutter their operations. And so this is a request for a resolution in support of extension of that program in hopes that those additional funds will allow American Airlines to continue to serve our airport.
Very good. It's the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, you have your hands up for Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Nunley. Commissioner Ward.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to concur with the recommendation.
Okay, Commissioner Nunley,
Second that.
that's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk,
Mr. Chairman, you have a hand up by Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Commissioner Huggins?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question about the airport. As far as employees, and did they have any layoffs at the airport during this COVID?
Yes, ma'am. I reached out to the executive director, Mr. Bill Hopper. He told me they had 5 people who were laid off early on, and they brought 4 of them back on. He said 1 person is still laid off at this time. And that's with their air service in existence as of today.
Okay. Do they plan to bring the other person back on?
He did not say it. I would have to inquire. I'd imagine if the service is shuttered, those original layoffs will probably be laid off again, I would speculate.
Okay.
Okay, very good. It has been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. John Demery again with the compact repair.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, we operate a compactor in our transfer station, and the existing compactor was installed back in May 2012. The life expectancies of these pieces of equipment are about 10 to 15 years. A couple of years ago, Solid Waste and Recycling had some minor repairs done on the walls of the compactor. And it's time to do some major repairs to the walls and the head of the compactor. This compactor inside of it is metal, and metal wears out. We sent a request out to 3 local contractors. This work is you just can't send it to any contractor. It's somebody that has to really know welding and metal work, because it is intense. The work was, we received 2 pricing from 2 different contractors. The third one we reached out to a number of times, and they never responded. So we asked for them to give pricing if they weren't going to use overtime and if they were going to use overtime. The reason for the overtime work is the compactor will be down, and we'll be loading over the top, and we don't get the volume of trash in the trailers without the compactor. So the overtime work will be done quicker. The contractor that we are recommending to do the work estimates about 7 to 10 days of work to have the compactor back up and running. It was approved in a year ago in the CIP, I believe, to not replace but add an additional compactor, and that hopefully will go forward this year. We're waiting on some borrowing some money with the schools. So I'm here to ask that you allow the county manager to execute a contract with Oak Ridge Industries for an amount of $112,750, which does include them working overtime. This money is in my budget, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Ms. Manager, do we have any?
Yes, Commissioner Wards and Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Okay, Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Ward?
Okay, I do not have a question, but I would like to make a motion to allow the county manager to execute a contractor for these repairs.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Chairman, I second the motion.
Okay, as we move and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, there's a question being raised by Lauren White. She's asking to confirm that the money's already in the budget, and I said, believe that that is yes.
Yes.
John is shaking his head yes.
It's in the,
Enterprise budget.
it's in the objective.
Does that answer your question, Commissioner White?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
yes, Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
yes,
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes,
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams. Commissioner Perkins Williams,
I approve.
motion passes unanimously.
Okay, very good. Ms. Manager?
Yes, sir. Next, you have appointments and reappointments to the Pitt County Planning Board. The two reappointments you have are for Fred Austin and RJ Hemby. You then have two individuals who are not eligible for reappointment per your appointment policy, that being Faye Barefoot representing District C, which is a combined districts of 4 and 5, and Danny Smith representing District A, which is a combined districts of 1 and 2. So I need a motion to reappoint the first two and then consideration of appointments for District C and A. And you hand up Commissioner Floyd Huggins
Commissioner Floyd Huggins
and Commissioner Nunley.
and Commissioner Nunley in that order.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we appoint John Lander for District A.
Okay. Commissioner Nunley?
You have a hand up Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Nunley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I concur with that nomination and also recommend for reappointment, the two eligible for reappointment, both Fred Austin and RJ Hemby.
Okay. You've heard a motion. Motion has been moved and second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, do we need to make sure that for Commissioner Ann Floyd Huggins' original motion that she's also in agreement to adding the two reappointments as well to her motion to appoint John Landry?
Okay. Commissioner Huggins, do you agree with that? Commissioner Huggins?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you are in agreement?
Yes, I agree.
Very good. Madam Clerk?
So just to clarify, I only heard one name that we were appointing. We need to appoint two individuals. Are we doing that separately?
You originally had from Commissioner Ann Floyd Huggins, she had nominated John Landry representing District A for one of the new appointments. And then we had the motion modified by Chris Nunley, agreed to by Commissioner Ann Floyd Huggins to reappoint Commissioner Mr. Austin and Mr. Hemby, who are the two reappointments, if that makes sense.
So we also need an individual to replace Barefoot as the District C representative.
Right. I think at this point, they just want to handle these three and then come back on the fourth one.
So we've got motion to reappoint Fred Austin as the District 4 representative and RJ Hemby as the District 3 and Mr. Landron as the District A representative.
yes,
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes,
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
So, Mr. Chairman, on the fourth item on that same list of, I guess it'd be for the District C, we can either, you can choose somebody who's on the list, or we can continue to advertise and bring back another name at a future meeting.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
You have a hand up from Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins?
I move that we continue to advertise.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Madam Clerk or Attorney, does that require a motion, or?
It doesn't, but since she made one and you have a hand up, you can proceed that way.
Okay.
What hand do we have up, Mr. Manager?
Commissioner Nunley.
Commissioner Nunley.
Second.
That's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve. And what is District C?
4 and 5.
Okay, thank you.
I both my districts.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, very good. Ms. Manager?
Yes, sir. Next, you have Aden Planning Board appointment. And on this one, the recommendation from the town of Aden is for an ETJ appointment, the extraterritorial jurisdiction seat that was left vacant by the passing of the former board member, Mr. Dixie Harris. They're recommending that the Board of Commissioners consider Jerry Cox to fill that vacant position.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
You have a hand up with Commissioner Floyd Huggins and Ward.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins?
I move to accept the recommendation coming from the town of Ayton to appoint Jerry Cox.
Okay, Commissioner Ward? Commissioner
I
Ward?
second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on the next item for reappointments to the Pitt County Farm and Food Council, you have 5 individuals who are being recommended for reappointment. You have Marcia Williams, Lauren Howard, Dr. John Silvernail, James Rhodes, and Lee Guth.
Okay.
You have a hand up, Commissioner White in Ward.
Commissioner White?
Motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ward? Commissioner Ward?
I second that motion.
That's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the next item is an appointment to the Pitt County Board of Health. You have the recommendation from Public Health Director to appoint Dr. Herbert Garrison for the position seat on the Board of Health. And this would be to replace Dr. Keith Ramsey, whose term will expire. You have three hands up: Ward, Huggins, Williams, Floyd Huggins, and Nunley.
Commissioner Huggins and Commissioner Nunley. Commissioner Huggins?
Okay. I move to approve Dr. Garrison to that position.
Okay. Commissioner Nunley.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir. The last item, appointment and reappointment to the Pitt Greenville Convention Visitors Authority. First part of this is easy. The second part's a little complicated. First part, the Greenville City Council is recommending that Candace Hollingsworth be appointed, and she'll be replacing Tyler McDowell, who has resigned. Then on the second part, you have a reappointment for Robert Scheck. We had some confusion with the city of Greenville in terms of this one. We thought he had left the Convention Visitors Authority, but he's always been on there. We finally got their records coordinated with ours. So you have a reappointment of him as well.
Okay. You have any
Hand
hands
up
up?
to Commissioner Nunley and Commissioner Floyd Huggins.
Commissioner Nunley and Commissioner Huggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we accept the recommendations to reappoint Robert Scheck and appoint Candace Hollingsworth.
Okay. Commissioner Huggins.
Second.
That's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
I approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have commissioner comments. Madam Clerk?
Chairman McLaughlin,
No comment.
Vice Chairman Colson,
No comment.
Commissioner Albright,
I look forward to seeing folks in person tonight.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
No comment.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
I do have a few comments. I do want to inform the commissioners of the EMS Oversight Committee meeting I attended earlier this month. The elected officers, Dr. Michael Brown is the chair, and Joe Morgan is the vice chair. The EMS, they wanted the board to know that they are very appreciative of the paramedic positions that we approved some time ago, and you saw that in the program, the All-American County, what is it, All County American, whatever it is, that James Rose presented earlier. So that was part of that. Also, during the COVID and ongoing, during COVID, we have not had any stations taken out of service. Our rate of survival rate is above the county and above the state and the national. So we are in good hands with our EMS as far as answering calls, and so I just want to say that, give a short overview of what's happening on EMS. I also want to raise another question, and I asked the county manager about this, and he said I could ask that it be put on the next month's agenda for consideration. You know, we're entering the election season, early elections coming up soon. We passed a policy for face covering mask in all of our county buildings. So I think we need to waive that for during election time, because we in no way want to suppress the vote. So if we need to take that up next month, and then I asked Mr. Chairman if we could take that up so that we can make it clear to our citizens during early voting and anytime during the election time that a voter will not be turned away because of not wearing a mask. Of course, we hope all voters will wear masks, but in case there are some not wearing face covering and who want to vote, we want to ensure that that is available for them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just interject real quick, I believe Dave Davis had told us that we cannot at the polls even ask, and Janice can confirm this, we can't even ask a person why they're not wearing it. We can't do anything to impede or stop, discourage anybody from entering the polls, even if we have a policy that face masks are required. Do you want to add to that? Or?
Yeah, Dave Davis and I discussed this as well, and we don't want there to be any appearance whatsoever that Pitt County government or its policies are doing anything to interfere with voting. And so while the policy will still be applicable and it will still be posted, it is not our intent to turn away anyone who does not have a mask on if they're coming to vote.
We won't have anybody posted like we have in front of this building as a monitor. None of that. If somebody comes in without a face mask, they go on in.
Madam Chair, Madam Attorney, do we need to consider our next meeting or just leave it?
Well, if you considered it at your next meeting, it would keep staff on solid ground for interpreting it that way. And so I would be appreciative if you did that. If not, we've just kind of let you know what we've been doing, although it is not 100% consistent with your policy. Okay. But in no way we did not anticipate in making that interpretation that you expected that policy to override, nor could it supersede state and federal law. And so that's how we've interpreted it.
Okay, I think
if you put it on your next meeting, it could probably be helpful to clarify for staff and make it aware for the public so that it doesn't discourage anybody based on their knowledge of the policy.
Okay. One of the board members approached me with that. So he wanted to be sure that people are not turned away, or have any fear of being turned away because they're not wearing a mask. So
we can add it if you like.
Okay. Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Commissioner Nunley.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Yeah, very briefly, I just wanted to thank Kelly Andrews for very steady leadership and really good news for the Pitt County Development Commission, and also Mike FITZPATRICK, who served on that board, for helping a really good report on that front today. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Ward,
Ditto what Mr. Nunley just said, and no other comment.
Commissioner White,
No comment.
Commissioner Perkins Williams,
Have a good day. See you tonight.
Okay,
I move that we adjourn.
has been moved that we adjourn. Do we have a second?
Hand up by Commissioner Ward.
I
Commissioner Ward?
second the motion to adjourn.
It's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk?
yes, Chairman McLaughlin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colson,
Yes.
Commissioner Albright,
Yes.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick,
No.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Nunley,
Absolutely not.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner
Please.
White, has exited the call. Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Thank you. Bye.
Motion passes 7-2.
We now stand adjourned.